Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the importance of getting enough sleep. As creators, we really need to be able to get that really good quality sleep in order to deliver things on time, make yourself responsible of being able to produce high quality content. And if you're a man like myself, and I usually don't wear makeup, but I'm not doing that now, I really need to have a good night's sleep in order to look my best. If you're interested in wanting to learn more about how you can overcome sleep challenges that you might have, then follow along, because part one is going to be about the standard advice in terms of falling asleep. In part two, I'm going to talk about how I'm overcoming my challenges with sleeping using neural beats and guided self-hypnosis with journaling. Let's explore some of the health issues that arise when you're not getting enough sleep. We can divide them into three boxes: cognitive, emotional, and physical health. And if we start with the cognitive health, what happens when you don't get enough sleep is that you become rigid. You're not able to think clearly through a problem, and you'll probably not see the connections and really make the type of content that you really want, whether it be writing or producing a video. Secondly, when we look at the emotional health, when you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to have a tendency to have anxiety, depression, or other emotional issues will come to rise. And this will, of course, impair your ability to think clearly and to act the way you want to. It might even sabotage you in the sense that, oh my goodness, I'm thinking so much more negatively, even though you might have in the past conquered negative thoughts, but you become more vulnerable to those types of thoughts when you're not getting enough sleep. The third issue, the physical health, your cardiovascular system and other parts of your body might actually suffer from not getting enough sleep. And I want you to go ahead and click the link, and you can see that a lot of this stuff that I'm promoting right now is supported by science. Let's talk about the first thing you need to do in order to get a really good night's sleep. And the first question we're going to ask ourselves is, do I have a really good sleep schedule? That means, do I go to bed at the same time? Is my environment restful? And do I limit screen time just before I go to bed? Those are very important things to take into consideration, because our bodies like to have habits, and screen time, whether you're aware of it or not, actually stimulates the brain and wakes the brain up. So you're going to want to try to maybe turn off the lights or have a candlelight lit in the bathroom when you brush your teeth before you go to bed. You're going to want to make sure that you turn off the screen about 30 minutes before you go to bed. And some people are very adamant about using light blockers and stuff like that. I'm not sure whether I would employ that myself, but it's something to look into. The second thing that we're going to look at is the role of diet, exercise, and managing stress. If you're very stressed, that means you're having a lot of adrenaline in your system. And this adrenaline is going to keep you awake, because the whole idea of stress is to be monitoring, looking around, making sure there's nothing going to attack you, eat you, or hurt you. And so being stressed is actually waking you up and keeping you alert and attentive. And we definitely don't want that when we're going to go to sleep. The third thing we're going to look at is, when do you expose yourself to light? According to Andrew Huberman and the research that he has promoted, and I do definitely subscribe to that, is that you need to get up in the morning at about the same time every day, and you need to get out into the sunlight. If you're living in Norway like I do, you're probably going to need to be able to have some sort of light ring that you can wake yourself up with in the morning. However, I would definitely look into the research about that, because sometimes if you overstimulate yourself with a light ring, it can have a paradoxical effect, making you feeling more tired. So you want to look into that a little bit more before you actually just start looking at a light ring. And you're going to want to think about the connection between how good sleep hygiene will increase your creativity and productivity. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm talking about sleep so early in this series. As a creator, I want to be very open and honest with you about my struggles and how I'm overcoming them or how I have overcome them. And one of the things I am currently struggling with is getting enough sleep. I only sleep about 4 hours every night. And even though I don't really feel like it is affecting my creativity, I'm quite sure it is, because that's one of the weird things about our minds. We have a tendency to fill in the gaps and not lose that perspective of who we think we are. And someone who's drunk can definitely attest to that. That's why it's so important to be a little bit humble and realize that if you're not getting enough sleep and you think that you're still performing well, you probably are not doing your very, very best. And that's why I'm decided to show you what I'm going to do in order to overcome my sleep issues. I do know that I've taken a gene test and I realized that I have a tendency not to get the deep sleep from a genetic perspective. So there might be certain issues that arise around that. My mother, who is 90 years old, and I'm very grateful that she has lived such a long life and is in relatively good health for her age, she's someone who doesn't really sleep longer than maybe 4 hours at a stretch. However, she is very good at taking naps all the time during the day. She's kind of like a cat that way, just always relaxing and sleeping whenever she can. How am I going to solve my problem? I believe that leading by example is extremely important. And so I have designed an intervention which I think is going to help me. And maybe you can follow the same protocol yourself. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have lights out at a certain time every night, probably around 11 o'clock. And after I've brushed my teeth and the lights are out, I'm then going to journal by candlelight. That's right, because candlelight is such a low frequency light source, it's not going to wake me up. And by journaling, I'm hoping to be able to get out anything that's stressing me or stopping me from being the kind of person I want to be. Once I get that stress out, once I've journaled, I'm going to also be combining that with a deep mindfulness meditation. So if I sit down and I want to journal and there's nothing stressing me, well, then I can just meditate for those 5 to 15 minutes or however long it feels intuitive right for me to be sitting there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-record a guided hypnotic sound file. That's right. By listening to the sound of my own voice, I'm going to go through my whole body scanning, and just introducing a deep, deep, relaxed state. And as I do that, I'm going to combine that with a delta neural beat. And as I listen to the neural beat, it's going to help me relax even more. And I'm going to do this in bed, laying on my back. And the minute the sound file is finished, or I feel like I'm just so tired I want to sleep, I'll take off my headphones, I'll turn to my side, and hopefully I'll fall asleep. If I don't fall asleep, I'll repeat the same process of putting on the headphones and listening to the sound file one more time. Now, there are two types of sleep problems people suffer from. Some people have a problem falling asleep, and other people have a problem waking up. I score on both aspects. I have a problem falling asleep sometimes, but I almost always wake up around 2 or 3 in the middle of the night, and sometimes I just don't fall back asleep. So I'm hoping that by following this protocol, it will really help me. And again, I don't know if it's going to work. That's why it's going to be a little bit exciting for you and for me to share with you the results of my sleep patterns. In summary, we're looking at 3 important aspects when solving our sleep issues. 1, the cognitive, 2, the emotional, and 3, the physical. All those 3 things have to be in place if you want to be a creator who can work in your field over a long time and really deliver high quality content. Secondly, I believe that by leading as a role model and showing you how I'm solving my sleep issues can inspire you to find your own unique way to solve your issues. And that's why I'm also including in a link below the ability where you can actually buy the sound file and the binaural beats that will help you get extremely relaxed. And maybe you might want to follow some of the other protocols that I've shared with you so far. Okay, thank you for following along, and I'm looking forward to our next sound file, which will be all about, you guessed it, write it in the comment below, and I will help you solve your problems. Thanks.